With over 6 million subscribers on YouTube, 4.7 million followers on Twitch, and a successful band behind him, Wilbur Soot lost everything after a series of allegations came to light. Let's talk about it. William Patrick Spencer Gold was born on September 14th, 1996, in Brighton, England. He was raised by his split parents who divorced while he was in middle school. In 2008, at just 12 years old, Wilbur made his first YouTube channel that went by the name Settings66. He had a blast making videos with his childhood friend Ben, but that unfortunately came to a complete stop after they forgot the password, losing complete access to the channel, leaving it as a time capsule for fans interested in seeing how he was growing up. 3 years later, on May 18th, 2011, Wilbur would create another channel called Minecraft and Donuts. His friend Sophie was a mainstay on this channel all the way up until 2013, when he'd create yet another channel by the name of A Little Brit of Will. Music videos and short films were the bread and butter of this channel. Wilbur actually got a bachelor's degree for editing and post-production, further showcasing his passion for filmmaking. By the time 2017 rolled around, Wilbur launched yet another YouTube channel, this one being dubbed Wilbur Music, where he'd upload his music covers. From 2017 to 2019, Wilbur put together a group you might know as the Soot House. They created lighthearted meme-based content. This channel would provide to be a major hit, accumulating over 1.3 million subscribers and 284 million views in its lifetime. Despite all this, the channel was ultimately abandoned on July 29th of 2019. Wilbur doing what Wilbur does best, he creates another YouTube channel called Wilbur Soot. He showed interest in Minecraft, with his debut video being a Let's Play with JSchlatt. Speaking of Let's Plays, they were spiking in popularity because of a series put together by none other than PewDiePie. Wilbur would go on to upload consistently all the way up until April of 2020, when he received an invite to the popular Minecraft server Dream SMP. To say that Will's career skyrocketed from this would be an understatement. His charismatic persona and passion for storytelling were a perfect puzzle piece for the server. And because of this, Wilbur had gained millions of new subscribers seemingly overnight, as he enjoyed being a crowd favorite. At the height of his success, Wilbur created his indie rock band Lovejoy in May of 2021, releasing their debut EP just a few days later. Success was no stranger for Wilbur and his bandmates, seeing as they achieved millions of monthly listeners on Spotify in a short amount of time. For the next 2 years, Wilbur enjoyed touring the world with his band. You could say he had the whole world in his hands. That is until 2024 rolled around. On March 21st, Shelby Shubble would hit the go live button to share her rather disturbing experiences with an anonymous ex. After a while, the live chat would start speculating that Wilbur was the anonymous ex. She'd go on to say that her ex was extremely manipulative and physically abusive, even biting her aggressively on some occasions. Shelby didn't realize just how bad her situation was, choosing to defend him, saying that it's fine, and really downplaying his tactics to concerned onlookers. The biting unfortunately got so worse to the point that he allegedly had to change where he was biting to avoid further damage to the same bruises left from previous bites.
When I hear about um when I hear about physical abuse, I think of hitting. I think of hitting and punching. So I thought that this wasn't violent enough to be abuse. I thought that it was just like a constant accident that he kept hurting me. But he's not hitting me. And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me. He had this habit of biting, which is so weird to me now, but he said that he had had this habit since he was a kid, and even his mom said that that was true. And he said it was just affectionate, and that might have been, I think that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that every part of it was a lie, but that's just my personal opinion. And I had no problem with just biting. That isn't even the most uncommon thing. But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. Of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would?
The biting got so severe that a safe word had to be constructed for whenever things went too far. In the closing months of their relationship, Shelby was constantly using this safe word.
He had, now at this point, weaponized the safe word and was using it to ensure that I was hurt and on a constant basis. And he wasn't sorry anymore. I couldn't even tell you the last time he had apologized for doing it anymore, because now sometimes he would bite me and I would yell out the safe word because it hurt so bad, and he'd clamp down even harder. And just for a second, just for good measure, before letting go. And sometimes I'd say the safe word and he'd grind his teeth down on my skin. And sometimes he'd smile after. Like a gloating grin. And during this time, I was filled with so much anxiety all the time that I was constantly nauseous, gagging daily.
At this point, friends would step in and tell her this was not normal behavior at all, and that she was in fact being taken advantage of.
He would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time. So he stopped biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop. Only once I was definitely hurt, which meant I was being hurt every single day, multiple times a day, for all of the days that we spent together in person. And when I asked him to stop again, this time he said, "This is who he is. He isn't going to change." Those were his words.
After the stream concluded, viewers got to doing what they do best and started a manhunt investigation to find out who exactly was behind all this anguish. Now, it didn't take long for viewers to put two and two together, and as a result, Wilbur was outed as the alleged ex. Unsurprisingly, Wilbur lost many of his fan base, but it would get even worse on February 27th when he tweeted this. "In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that although I feel it fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. I've taken my time sharing this statement as I wanted to process and respond respectfully and with the hope to gain a deeper understanding for the situation. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions have caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I've since sought therapy to address these behaviors, making significant lifestyle changes to rectify my past actions. I've come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly, compassionately believe I have made great strides from the person I once was and hope I can continue to grow and improve on this trajectory. The allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. I truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding. Out of respect for her, I choose not to publish them, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. Instead, I share it in the hope that I can offer a genuine, fair, and relevant insight into my understanding of the situation. While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. I am fully committed to understanding and addressing her concerns going forward. I hope my perspective sheds light on this situation without detracting from its message. I am dedicated to earning and maintaining the trust of those around me, and hope I continue to be held to these high standards I wish to attain and maintain. It shouldn't take Albert Einstein himself to see how unforgiving the internet's response was. The main takeaway being how he was laser focused on defending himself as opposed to his alleged actions that got him here in the first place. It was obvious to onlookers just how much he had changed. It's important to note that Wilbur never actually admitted to abusing her, instead choosing to highlight the text that made it look mutually enjoyed, consensual, and lighthearted. Wilbur's response was polarizing, but ultimately, the internet is against this guy. He's lost almost 300,000 subscribers in the last month alone, and just as the situation started slowing down, more accusations came to light. On March 9th, Twitter user Alice Nyenya tweeted this: "Hello, I'm Alice. I dated Wilbur back in 2019 and I want to speak out about my experience. I felt like I couldn't talk about this sooner because I was scared of his public influence and the potential backlash from fans, but now, after hearing Shelby's story, seeing the support she's been shown, and admiring her bravery, I finally feel safe to break my silence on our relationship. Back in 2019, at the beginning of the relationship, I was immediately shown a lot of affection, very reminiscent of love bombing. One of his close friends at the time warned me in confidence to be careful, as if they had seen people get hurt in the past, but I believed he was good inside. After a month, the honeymoon phase was over and it was like I was dating a completely different person. I was told to keep our relationship a secret, but was framed in a way that implied that it was for my safety, as if it was in my best interest to keep this a secret despite my own feelings. I believe that he enjoyed having control in the relationship. I would have to hide as he streamed and sit silently in the corner of his room waiting for him to go offline. He would say condescending things to me about my interests and the type of content I created, as if he just didn't take it or me seriously and would only be enthusiastic about his future plans with music and desire for fame. I never felt like he was encouraging towards me or any of my goals, and in the last few months, he made me feel extremely unlovable and unwanted. I had suffered with self-harm tendencies in 2019. He ignored the marks on my body and only took interest in retelling his own life struggles. I also experienced the biting habit, which has already been elaborated on by Shelby. After a while, I noticed that it was always me putting the effort into the relationship, so I decided one day to not be the one to message first, just to see what would happen, and he never spoke to me again, so the relationship dissolved. Skipping to 2021, we had spoken briefly over an Instagram DM about the relationship and meeting up for closure on how things went in 2019. I gave him a second chance and met up hoping to get some answers. We walked through densely populated areas of town where we got stopped multiple times by his fans. In hindsight, this felt very intentional, almost as if it was to flaunt his influence and desirability to me. We went to a bar to talk and then he proceeded to get me very drunk. He got us an Uber back to his house. I ended up blacking out in his bed due to the alcohol, but the last thing I remember was him non-consensually removing my clothes. The next morning, he proceeded to tell me that I must be a lesbian because I wasn't interested in him. These past years have been extremely difficult to navigate because of this. I couldn't go online without seeing him everywhere and being adored as this soft boy who heroically respects women and mental health issues. I couldn't even go to conventions and enjoy my own hobbies without seeing people dressed up as him. Shelby was right. Staying quiet wasn't bringing me any peace, it was only keeping his. And with that being said, it's safe to say Wilbur Soot has peaked touring the world with his band with millions of followers, only for it to all come crashing down in the end.